Okay, testing. It looks like it's working. There's a delay, so you should hear me any second. And take two, take 3, 4 or 5 at this stage. G'day everybody. Love you guys and welcome to the Forbidden History Chronicles. Yay! Thank you.
Just when we thought we were going to do this by Skype, Ninja, right? Okay, we'll get it.
Can you imagine me doing it? Yeah, okay. With the night that we have had so far, yeah. Yo Engineer, I give you so much. I admire you for being able to figure out the Skype thing. I really do. Yeah, you're amazing. Anyway, for any new listeners out there, you're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with NinjaCat 111 and Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel. Please go check it out. It's his original channel. Listen from June 21st last year, 2018. It's absolutely brilliant, and that will help you comprehend what we're trying to share here. Desert is also currently broadcasting from Forbidden History Live. All links are in the description below. Please subscribe and check the bell. And we're also getting another new channel going called The Cosmic Essence. It has a sample video on there at the moment, and we're going to start uploading some good stuff very, very soon. We want to get it going. And that will also make things easier to understand. We're going to go through symbols and the letters and just go into a lot more. We're going to make it simple and easy to understand, but we're going to be thorough. Yeah, so anyway, get on with the introduction. There's also, we're going to have 4 channels going eventually. Another reading channel where Desert does some readings from the FENTON Bible. So yeah, that should be absolutely brilliant, that one. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting the word out. Okay. This is written by Dezert-Owl. The Signs of the Times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time. Who they are and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world. About who the giants really were and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind and all instituted through the 3 main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cybercode has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. He can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. Desert discusses the ultimate in mind control and ancient art and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time, through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess, who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end, they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the old world order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it, but they are cleverly leaving us in the dark, hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water, to tainted vaccines, to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was by Dezert-Owl, who I'd like to finally welcome to the program. How's it going, Desert?
Well, we're doing it, Ninja. So,
Yes, we are.
The technical problems, we seem to get through them a lot quicker these days, and that's really great because we're plowing the field and we need to cover a lot of ground. And so that's what we're doing here, and everybody's getting better at what they do, and that's really exciting to see this work being perfected and brought forward, right, for Yeshua. So that's the bottom line.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and hi to everybody out there, Lynn and Shelley and that way, and if I missed anybody, you're up on the chat already, but welcome everybody, our new listeners out there. We got our regular 6-pack. We just drank one, and back to 5, but that's okay. We'll put in an order for another 6. And,
Yeah.
Well, I know the word is spreading. You know, it starts slow, and that's how a channel begins. It's just natural because you're not in the algorithm.
Yeah.
On the internet, unless you're you've got thousands of listeners. So we're just small time, but I'd rather be with people who get it, a few people that get it, than with a bunch of with 100 people who don't get it, and then you get all the stupid comments and everything because they're children.
Exactly. Excuse me. Yeah, I agree. It's important that I know it would be great for more people to hear this information, but it's awesome that the people that get it are here regularly, and I'm out of words, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's awesome. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me. The numbers don't matter to me. The more we do this, the more people will listen. So it's getting out there. We've got more channels going up, and we're doing it. Yay!
I got a gamut, and we're gonna. Ninja's gonna. And by the way, the other channel is up. We haven't posted the first audio yet, so I don't know if you can actually find it on a search, but it is the FERRAR FENTON Bible, the FERRAR FENTON Bible daily read. So that's 6 words. The FERRAR FENTON Bible. FERRAR is FERRAR, FENTON FENTON. The FERRAR FENTON Bible daily read. And so I'm going to do a chapter a day starting. I'm going to read through the scriptures one more time. I read through it last year for the first time in FERRAR FENTON, and I got all my notes in there and everything. So it's really, and I found the conspiracy of the control by the priesthood, the switch outs. But FENTON has the best translation from the Greek in modern time, bar none. Okay, and then Lamsa is from the Aramaic, but FENTON with the notes, and I compare it with Lamsa at the same time. Excuse me. Comparing them, it takes you further back than anything else, because you see when you compare translations, you see the problem that we have with translation, because it should be a perfect science, but because man has manipulated the ancient writings, therefore it cannot be a perfect science. Although what we talk about in the Indo-Germanic mother tongue and the original thought, that is a perfect science, with one exception, that we don't have any copies of any originals. So it's based on knowing specifically the symbol, in particular, and then the parent root forms, the two-letter combination symbolic forms, the three-letter or three-symbol combination form, because they're not really letters, they're symbols. That's what we need to call the letters. They changed it after the 1800s. They used to call them symbols, then fonts were symbols, and now they call them letters, because it gets confused between a big page, which we call a letter, and then the little item, the little symbol is a letter. So which one is it? Right? Everything has to have one identifier, and so the small little font on the page is a symbol. It is not the letter. The letter is the product of all the symbols, and that's again how they confuse the mind.
Wow.
So with that, I have a few words before we get into the dictionary of all scriptures and myths, and you were the one who pointed out very well the word diet.
You went funny then, Desert. Sorry. Pointed out the word, and then you went funny. Yeah.
Diet. The word diet.
Okay.
And maybe that Bhagwan got some new technology. He's having fun with us. Because my words have been at different times. My presentation has been has had that happen, and it's not difficult.
With the glitchy. Yeah.
So they're experimenting. They're probably trying to fine tune it. And that's okay. That's okay, because when they drive home from work one day, they may have an accident. Because they think they can mess with Yeshua and with the one who made the entire universe, and they're gonna be absolved from natural law, and the results of attempting to injure the lives of other people, well, their lives will be injured in the process.
Yeah.
And that's the natural law. And so we wish him well, and do not wish anything to happen to anybody. But we know the real nature of our world. They're wanting to kill us, and so they'll also be taken down in the process by the one who made all things, because we're on a mission from him. And we are conveying for mankind the most important information on the face of the entire earth, or under the earth. Here's where, what is this, a quote?
Yes,
the mind and spirit, the battle for the mind of... Okay, I'm going to read this quote here. I hadn't seen this one before. The battle for the mind and spirit of we the people rages on, just like a blazing fire. The weapons that we face are up against, the weapons that we face and are up against are disinformation, media propaganda, the control of our own direction and our literary history, censorship, secret alliances, all within dark coven societies. For this reason, the world, as we all know it, will soon come to an end, all within a total ignorance and an obscure big cloud of darkness. So never stop asking those important questions, but then do keep questioning every answer. Do your own research. Become one within yourself, but then draw upon your own conclusions. Since tomorrow, it never comes. We only have today, so be in the now. It is true that we must all learn the proper way to live, and then make perfect peace within ourselves, within the here and the now. And that's a quote I wrote back when I was producing United Truckers defending the Constitution. That's when I was having a major wake up on the nature of secret societies and the political state. So that goes back. I probably wrote that back in 1997. So we're talking what?
Wow.
30,
and it still applies.
20 years ago?
Yeah, it still applies even more so now. Yeah.
Yeah, 22 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. That was great
No
having
worries.
that. I've lost a lot of quotes along the trail. It's nice to see them make a comeback because just everything's
That's
scattered
good.
everywhere.
That's
you know?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My stuff is strewn all over the land. You know. And, yeah.
I like treasure hunts, Desert. So.
I lost in Nebraska. I lost five trunks of books and personal belongings, and 35 boxes and a bit more. So literally,
wow.
almost everything I owned at one point I lost in Nebraska to people calling themselves Christians of all things. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They don't mind. They don't mind hurting other people. I think they think it's the obligation in Christ is to go around blasting people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Blast you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's reverse osmosis.
Yeah. It's a wonderful
okay, so let's
world.
Continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
Mr. Smith
continue.
or Mr. Smith? Okay. Elliot Smith and Jones. All right. So on that word diet, that's the word I was talking about when we got bleed.
Yes.
You saw the word. Was it the word diet that got you going, or what was the word originally?
Diet was the original one, and I think Shelley said live and backwards evil in a live stream before that, but then diet came up, and I saw diet and live and evil, and then in the next live stream, veil came up.
All right. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm sticking with the word diet, and so you saw in it what?
Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. I'm mixing them all up together. Sorry.
I got the notes here. I can give it to you.
Edit. Diet and edit. That was it.
You saw the word edit. Diet. Is that it?
Diet and edit. Which made sense to me because diet is taking away food and edit is taking away writing. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm taking a note here.
Okay.
So of course, obviously, but if we know the code, then we know the letter T has a double, just like the A has a consonant and a vowel, and you don't know which one it is until you test it. You shut off the A, then you use the A, and then the same thing with the T. So the prime root of the word diet is die. Okay, and those are the three main letters. The three main letters. D is the letter for death, destruction, dirt, doom, danger. You know, all the negative words come with the D. And and then the I is a blind. It's a total blind. It's a Luciferian blind. And they killed our words with the letter I. And then the E is also an antithesis to the letter A. So it is in the original alphabet, but it has limited use in comparison to the A and the O. The A and the O were the dominant vowels in the original alphabet. They became supplemented by the I and the E, the great switch out, you see.
Yeah.
And so to diet on the food that they're giving us, and this didn't start yesterday. Back in India, several thousand years ago, they actually outlawed. If you could wrap your mind around it, it sounds so bizarre, but they actually outlawed onions and garlic. Okay, so can you imagine people going to jail for eating onions and garlic? You know what I mean? So we thought it was bad with marijuana. You know.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Because they knew that if people could not eat these things, that they would become weaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So people. Yeah. So they outlawed onions and garlic in India thousands of years ago, and of course they're always testing testing the psychology of the people at the same time. It's not just we're going to do this to you, but we're going to also see how you react. We're going to study you, and then we may want to beat a few of you up. We'll beat a few of you up to teach everybody else a lesson. If you don't listen to us, this is going to happen to you. So it's all mind control, psychology, and physics all wrapped into one. So within the word, this is a rather interesting cyber code actually. Because we got diet, then we got die, but then if you read it backwards, you get the word tide, and there's your emerging sea, because the tide is coming in. We're not going to like the tsunami that that they're going to bring of all of their garbage. That's what a tsunami brings. There's a lot of garbage, and then we also see the word edit. It's changed the letters. You get the word edit. So it's really the ultimate cyber code. And so we can see also the word edit means that which they remove. So education means that which they remove from your curriculum. Has nothing to do with what they told you. It's what they didn't tell you that you wanted to hear about law, the nature of law, money, about the nature of money, and so much more. Of course, about our history. That whoever wins the war writes the history. So we know that all the history is fraudulent because the occultics have been waging all the wars and winning them. Bankers are the funders of the war, the Khazarian Jews. The Vatican is given the marching orders for Bhagwan Gandhi Rashish Hashish out of India, the unseen hand. And so they're all playing, singing the tune, and but yet they all pretend to be innocent, like an example would be in North England, here in the U.S. back during the Revolutionary, not the Revolutionary, but the Civil War. There was these preachers. Remember, preachers, the Illuminati hide behind the cloth. They hide as preachers, and so the preachers are saying, "We're against the war. We're against the war," and then underground they're funneling rifles and ammunition to supply the war. You see, and so that's typical to how they do it. They play one game that they pretend to be something, and on the other side they're doing something totally opposite, and that's the game. Even talk about word trickery. Well, even Benjamin Franklin, when he was putting in, there are two kinds of mind control: negative and positive mind control. Okay, I don't even remember writing that, but yeah. Okay,
For the greater good. That's the way I see the positive. For the greater good, convince everybody.
So Benjamin Franklin, they were told, you can't buy armaments. You can't with the money that we have in our coffers. You cannot spend the money on military materials, right? So what does Ben Franklin do? He says, well, we're putting in a requisition for 25 barrels of grain and a brand new fire engine. You see, and so the 25 barrels of grain was gunpowder, and the fire engine was a cannon.
Yeah.
Get the picture?
Yes.
It's word trickery. That's how they get around it, and nobody's talking, and so there you go. Okay, so diet. Yeah, diet is a profound word, and
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
And with that duality, positive, negative mind control, it's got both the D and the T in it, and the T is the symbol of sacrifice and the symbol of life, and the D is the symbol of darkness and death. So it's interesting that the duality is in there at the same time. I know a lot of people are saying, what in the world is Desert talking about? I need to go back to bed now. Thank you very much. But that's okay. Not everybody will get the stuff, but it's the greatest adventure of the mind, and it's more significant than playing with toys and games.
Yep.
And being a child, and a child is killed and chilled and spilled at their birth, which is when your ship came in, on all capital letters, right? Your ship of state, when you were officially made into an item sonan. Okay, so we talked about Laban and that he was really Laban. And so what was interesting after I did the program on that, I guess was yesterday or the day before, I don't remember, but then all of a sudden I'm saying, wait a minute, but Laban backwards is navel,
It
so
is
there's
too.
the navel, right? So what?
Wow.
So what Jacob had to do, Yaakov had to do, is he had to leave the Genon, the garden, the promised land, and he had to go back to Padam Aram or Shinar or Mesopotamia, depending upon what you want to call it, and to his family root, and maintain the pure bloodline. And so that was the navel. Laban backwards is the navel. Laban was obviously mentally deranged and a greedy SOB, for lack of a better way to say it. But it's just interesting to realize the story, because Laban also means the fountain. And so when Yaakov is going back, the seed of light is going back into the land between the two rivers. Well, he's going back to the fountain, and he's going back to the navel, and he's going back to the bridge. See, all of those are in that story. But he wants, so in other words, what it means is, in the metaphor, is he's turning back towards the light. And but in the process, he doesn't initially receive the light, right? Because he wants Rachel, and she represents the beautiful aspect of that light, the creation, the beautiful creation. And instead, he gets Leah, and so he's works real hard for 7 years, 7 being the number 4 towards perfection. And then he finds out, he wakes up and he finds he's got Leah, who is the one who was not preferred. Okay, not preferred. Remember, the story is being told for the symbolism.
Yeah.
And so that's what's important to note. So then he has to work another 7 to get what he really wanted, and that was the truth. You see, the truth is what is represented by Raquel. It's the there's some, I have to do more study on her name, but my point is that in other words, if we talk about religion in general, we all think we're going back to the source, right? We're going back to the scripture. We're opening the book, but then we found out, wait a minute, it's not correct. It's not true. It's not correct. It's not complete, and it's all misleading. The story, the basic story is true, but yet the priesthood has changed all these words. So I got Leah. I got the thing that I didn't want was confusion, deception, ghost spell, right? Ghost spell, because we've altered on the sacred altar all of your scriptures, so you'll never be able to figure out the true narrative. So you got Leah. Good luck, okay? And but Leah backwards is L, for illumination. So if we turn things around and do the work, it can be possible to get the Rachel that we all wanted to have. Okay, so this is a very profound nature of his name.
Wow, that was beautiful the way you said that.
What's that?
That was sorry, I'm losing my voice already. That was beautiful the way you said that just then.
Yeah, well, Laban, even we could say the AV is the symbol for the star, the AN the symbol for the one, so we could even say it represents the star of the one. He represented the star of the one, but that star of the one that came first was falsehood. And then he comes back into the promised land with everything, right? He comes back into the promised land, just like Abraham came into the promised land. So Yaakov, the seed of light, is just recreating what his grandfather did. You see, we have to look at every move, every word, every action that's going on, and it creates a subliminal story. That's we can say that's the positive mind control, because we do want to be directed. We want to be directed, but that direction that we want is by the light. We want the light's direction, the positive mind control. We want to be guided. We want to be steered in the right direction. But not everybody, because some people are lazy and they'd rather. No, I kind of like my King James. I think James was a great homosexual Mason, and he had and he wrote the Book of Beast, and his son had his head cut off. And I don't know what that was all about, but the scripture says that if you do not serve the Father, that your lamp will be put out. And so guess what? His lamp was put out, and that's the evidence. When his seed line was cut off, that's his lamp being put out. His son Charles had his head cut off. So King James was held in derision shortly after he did the King James scriptures. It's purely an occultic book. It is the number 1 occultic mind control code book for their purpose, for their mind control project, Project Monarch, and MK Ultra. So what people don't get, that's why there's a Bible in every Gideon Bible in every hotel in America, because when they send their little mind control slaves to somewhere to do a mission, and they call them on the phone, take out your Bible, my son, and turn to page 943 or to Psalm 69:53 or whatever, and then they give them the trigger. These are trigger codes, that are in the scriptures, call it the one world order. Just another day on planet Earth for all of them, you know.
Wow. Loving it already.
Yeah.
Desert, loving it already.
Yeah. But they didn't want you to know that we tell right here because somebody's got to do it.
Yes.
And one more word, general. And that's what I was thinking of this morning when I was working in the kitchen. You know, general. And I realized that the word gen was the prime root for the gan, the garden. That's the generation. That's where we get the word generation from. What generates? Well, the garden, right? The garden is generating life, right? So it's the gan, but it's missing one letter. It's the gain, and so there's the word for gain. It's interesting. This parallel between Cain, the bad guy, and then the gain in the Gainun, or the garden at high noon, because it has to do with the fire, and the fire. It's interesting about the light. The light gives light. The fire of the sun gives light and life. But if something's already dead, what does it do? It destroys it totally, right? The light will burn it up. The sun will destroy the material after it dies, right? But if it's alive, what happens? It grows bigger, gets stronger, brings forth fruit, right? You see what I'm saying? The double,
Yep.
the duality?
Yep. There's duality in
And so-
everything. Yes.
Yeah. And so, that's a beautiful graphic. The truth is not a part of any lie. Is that new, Ninja? I don't remember if I saw that or not.
I might have put it up really quickly. I don't know. No, I don't think I made it until I put up those other clips from your live streams.
Beautiful color.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful color. And there's the cosmos in the mind, in the astral, on the astral plane. We're in the darkness, attempting to come to the sunrise. We're looking for the sunrise, and we're reading the stars. We're reading all the symbols, all the pictures in the astral plane. That's where we are until we find our fulfillment. We should receive the great breath of the wind and fire. You know, that's when we have our sunrise. Lazarus, come forth. Then we're rising from the grave. In the meantime, we're buried with Yeshua. We're in a covenant relationship with the one. He knows our problem. He knows our difficulty, what we're going through. But he's here to help us. He's our tree of knowledge. He's our guide. He's our star navigator. He's our soul navigator. You see? And so the word general. So when I thought of the word general, I immediately could read it. It popped in. Sometimes it happens, at the right time, because it's like, okay, I've been looking at this word. I've known this word all my life, but just now when I'm in the kitchen, boom, I see it. I read it. Oh, okay, there it is. And so it's the original thought in the Indo-Germanic root form is Genara, and Cain correctly would be spelled Gaynn. There's always two N's actually associated with a word in a shavor, and so Gaynara, and so literally it means the garden of the powerful force of all things, the garden with a powerful force in all things. Gaynar, all, A-R means power, but it also means to plow in the Indo-Germanic, and then all for everything. So Gaynar all, you can hear the word general still, right? Gaynar all, general, right?
Yep.
It's still there, but we reconstruct it based on our original root forms, and it's the Gaynar all. And so it is the gain that is the garden with the power over all things. That's, in other words, if we're talking in general, that's what it's implying, because it says all. The garden with the power over all things. In general, that's the general. All. A-L-L. So it's a good example of reconstructing a word back into the Indo-Germanic. Maybe I should say reprostructing, not reconstructing. Reprostructing, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Reprostructing. That's a good word. I like that.
That is a good one. I have a question. Sorry. I have a question. I'm seeing stuff as you speak, as per usual. General. It just all it all makes sense. With that word, because we use it differently. Like when you're saying something in general, or you're generalizing, it just, those words make sense now. Like the way they get used in different ways, it all comes back to the same meaning, even though they're being used in different ways.
Yeah, well, that's what they call the high commander in the military, right? They call him the general. So he is the General. He is, and then there it is in the garden, right? So he's in the garden, and they're going to blow their big cannon at you. That's the gay noon. That's the garden at high noon. Yeah, throw the big cannon at them, the garden. Let's give them the garden, guys. Let's give them the flow of war, the flowers. Let's give it to them, right? There you go, right?
Yeah.
Flower, flow of war.
Yes.
Only on planet Earth, only on planet Earth.
Only on planet Earth.
Yeah. Whereas perpetual war is all theater, and nothing is real, but other than the pain they inflict upon all mankind, that's real. Yeah. So anything else, Ninja? Maybe I'll take a break. Why don't we do a quick break, and then we'll be back on the dictionary of all scriptures in a minute. How about that?
Okay.
I'm having too much fun. It must be illegal.
I'm loving it. I'm just, my jaw's on the floor tonight, Desert. It really is already.
They're coming for me, but they're coming for all of you too. So we got nothing to lose but make sense out of a bad world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll let you go. Give me a 5-minute break if you got one of those.
Okay, I'm just looking. My list has got longer. Okay, and you're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with NinjaCat 111 and Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel and Forbidden History Live. Links are in the description under the live stream. Please go and subscribe and check the bell while you're there. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And also my email is in the description as well for copies of what's currently on the screen. That's Desert's Dictionary, the Real Da Vinci Code, Etymological Dictionary. There's 3 PDFs available. We do accept donations here. We're doing this. We don't have any funding. We're doing it because we have to. Yeah, this is what we do. I don't have the information in my description, but there's links in the description on the other channels. So yeah, if you would like to donate to help with the project, it would be greatly appreciated. And you will get 3 PDFs. If you want the PDFs and you can't afford to donate, that is fine. We will get them to you anyway. So there's the dictionary, and there's also the Book of Wisdom, and a sample of the original gospel with a more up-to-date version of the dictionary at the back of it. So yeah, they're my go-to PDFs to help figure this out. Yeah, Desert does a wonderful job, but if you really want to get the picture, you do need to see and read it for yourself. So yeah, grab your PDFs. Anyway, I've found my music break. So we'll be right back. All right. Okay. Okay.
All right, they're waiting.
Okay. Yeah.
They're waiting.
Yeah. The microphone's on. Desert. Okay. Welcome back. You're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles. Here with NinjaCat 111, who is also now the Cosmic Essence. The link is not in the description yet. I will put it in there. Please subscribe. It's a new channel. It's going to be great. And g'day, Riles. How's it going? Good to see you. Yeah. So anyway, what they didn't want you to know, we're telling in between Ninja's giggles and wows. Welcome back, Desert. How's it going?
Thank you. Well, it's going, right? It's going, and what's the last word?
Gone.
Gone. Yeah, it's going, it's gone. So in the meantime, we've got to try to make lemons out of. No, we got to make lemonade out of lemons. What I'm saying here, okay? And yeah, we're in deep trouble, and looks like Raleigh on that Raleigh's channel over here, rather interesting. He's into the deep stuff. He's got the Matrix there and the Mandela effect and all that. So yeah, good to have somebody who's trying to figure things out. Raleigh, if you could, I was trying to do a survey. Where did you hear about us? How did you stumble in? Do you know Raleigh?
Yeah, when I was confused and didn't know what was happening to this world. That's when I met. Okay. Yeah, we met in a chat. Another Aussie, Bluebeard 2011. We met in a chat. So yeah, known him since last year. So
yeah, and
he's cool.
He wants to call in, so you'd have to. The only way you can either call in on the Skype, which is Free America Radio. That's 3 words, Free America Radio, or we have to 3-way you in on the phone. So you'd have to text me. You'd have to text me your phone number, and then I can 3-way you in with myself and Ninja. That's the only way. We're low tech here. So if you want to do that, the phone number is 608-566-7295. That's 608-566-7295. And I assume you're in the U.S. Okay. That's
as far as I know.
Number, we're Ohio. Okay, so if you want to do that, just give us a heads up, all right? In the meantime, I have one definition out of the book of the Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths. Okay. We did Skype way back over 10 years ago. Yeah, well, that's what we use for broadcasting. Is we use Skype.
Except here.
It's better quality than the phone. It's better quality. Okay, so it's Zacchaeus is the definition here. We're in the letter Z at the end of the book. And Zacchaeus, a chief publican. It's a symbol. Now, the story with Zacchaeus is he was in Jericho, and that's Yalrico. That means the father is rich, and so Jericho is a very symbolic place. The walls came down way back when they came to receive the promised land. And well, look at that. That's out of the dictionary too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I haven't seen that in so long. I almost forgot. Okay, very, very good, Ninja. Although the B is actually the V. Now you see. Now that I've gone further down the trail over time, I can see that the B is probably. You can see the V in the B actually. You see, and then the V also looks like it's creating a G, and that's the next letter after the V is the G. So there's some correction there for me to do on the dictionary once I get back up and running with that. Okay, and so Zacchaeus, so with this story, he was a tax collector, and he was short in stature, and Yeshua is coming into town, walking through the streets, and Zacchaeus wants to meet him. So it's rather interesting symbolism here. Okay, Zacchaeus, a chief publican, a symbol of the soul exercised about the things of this world. Okay, a symbol of the soul exercised about the things of this world, but are actuated by better motives in regard thereto than is ordinary. So, and he, Zacchaeus, sought to see Yeshua, who he stature, and he ran on ahead before the crowd and then climbed into a sycamore tree to see him. That's Luke 19:3 and 4. The well-intentioned mind desired to raise an ideal and, as it were, to catch a glimpse of the king in his beauty, the royal Malik in his quality, and that's in parentheses the self. Okay, so in other words, we're wanting to see Yeshua. How are we going to see him other than within ourselves, right? And by transforming ourselves through the Eshavors, through how he says to be like the Father. The Father and the Son are one. But it's too much entangled. Okay, so he wants to get a glimpse of the royal ruler in his beauty, symbolized as the self, but is too much entangled with the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of desires to be able to do so. You see, he's small in stature. That's like us in the fall. Except by adopting the expedient of climbing up a tree, sort of like going back to the light in metaphor, that is of getting a view in advance of the means whereby progress could be accomplished. So sort of like getting away from the crowd, right? Get away from it, and then you can see more clearly.
Yeah.
This bird's eye view corresponds with an intuition of a condition beyond the state actually arrived at. It therefore answers to an aspiration of the subjective mind upon the divinic plane. The divinic plane. There's the word diva. Divinic plane, which had not yet been realized in the world of effects. Zacchaeus is one, little of stature, that is to say, a soul not up till now raised beyond a certain point or degree of development, yet one who shall surely rise eventually and claim his inheritance. Makes you feel a little better, doesn't it, Ninja? Right?
Yes, it does.
The parallel, right? You see, we see it in ourselves, right?
Yeah.
The crowd, we're wanting it all right now. We want that Rachel, but we're sort of stuck with Leah at the moment, trying to work out our own soul novation. Yeah. The crowd signifies the lower mental qualities which obscure the view of that which is higher. That's why we have to see the serpent, right? We got to see the serpent. If we can see the serpent, we can live. Zacchaeus, being small of stature, ascended a sycamore and saw the healer and sunrise, because they who humbly chose the foolishness of the world do themselves minutely contemplate the wisdom of the great Elohim. For the crowd hinders smallness of stature from beholding the healer and sunrise. The crowd, see, there's a problem, because the tumult of worldly cares keeps the infirmity of the earthly mind from looking up at the light of truth and thinking that they can put on that perfect state. That's from the book of Morals on the book of Job. Okay, so that's where that is at, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a beautiful poetic expression. And so what did Zacchaeus? So what happened when Yeshua walked by and he saw Zacchaeus in the tree, and then he stops and he looks up? He knows who he is. He says, "Hey, Zacchaeus, get out of that tree. Come on down. I'm having supper with you today." Okay, and he says, "Whoa, okay," and he's a tax collector. He was, and so as they're having dinner, Zacchaeus says, "Mother Star, I give a tenth of all my goods to feed the poor, and if I have wronged anybody, taken anything from them improperly, then I restore it fourfold." And then Yeshua says, something to the effect that today's salvation has come into this household. You see, so Zacchaeus didn't have his guiding light. He was just lost in the world. But then he climbed the tree to see Yeshua, and he could now see him, and he invites him in. You see how beautiful that metaphor is, right?
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Wow,
Okay,
Desert.
and
And yeah, I just want Rolls, Rolls has said good night 3 times and come back in. It's funny. All right. Do I post this? Yes. They all get uploaded after the streams, so you can listen back. And love you. Be safe. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Back to you, Desert.
all right, and
Okay.
I want to thank Raleigh for stopping by and joining the program here today. And so we're in symbols now, and we're gonna start doing that because you're gonna start taking snippets of different topics out of the long discussion and turning them into a micro, or what we call the cosmic essence. We're going to take each topic one at a time. If it's a word, it's going to go under the word column in the cosmic essence YouTube channel, or if it's a symbol, we're going to put the symbols on the symbolism row, and we're going to build, and we're going to, that way, if somebody wants to look up something specifically, the topic, whether it's a word, a symbol, a scripture, or the alphabet, we're gonna then just start cataloging all the essence of this in a micro because we have to look at things microscopically, and even the discussion. Now as we're talking, Ninja, now there's one more, and it could be discussion. Another row topic can be discussion, because obviously, like, okay, for instance, you know how I did the story of Adam, but I did it over five programs, right, or 4, and so literally that discussion can be cut, and then each one can be labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4, and have them right in a row, but they don't have to listen to the bigger program to find it, right?
If they just want to know about the discussion, they don't have to search through the live streams. If
people don't have time, then we're going to lose them. So this is the way, to do that. So we're trying to accommodate everyone. The idea is to get everyone up to speed, and we're all in this lower matrix of darkness and deception, and we are attempting. I couldn't do this without a Ninja and Shelley coming to the table with their wonderful time and energy. Neither one of them really. I had to just kind of ask them to do this, because they didn't really volunteer, I don't think. And then after I asked them, they said, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, that'd be great," And then they got going, and they didn't know how good they really were. How the Father has given them great talent, and so and I think you're even having fun, probably, right, Ninja? Right?
I'm loving it. Like, I think I've said this before. This is all I want to do. Doing these streams, and making. I'm looking forward to doing the videos for the new channel. That's what will keep me, stop me from forgetting everything that I've learned over the last year from your teachings. We're he says you give a glass of water to the Star Navigator, and you will also receive the Star Navigator's reward. That's a sweet scripture. I never saw it more clearly till one of the last times we talked about that, and it takes a long time for these things to unfold, the deeper meanings, and how, because they've all been mistranslated, they've all been watered down, the words have been changed. How in the world can we navigate through those kind of waters of deception, And so that's the challenge, but we're doing it, okay? And want to welcome any new listeners that are out there. I see we got the number of perfection on now, and so we hope that we can bring in more people to enjoy this. Certainly we get it recorded, and usually within the day there's about near 50 people that will listen to the broadcast. So that's exciting to know we're reaching 50 people somewhere in the world, to help them out. The ability to unravel the great mystery is virtually near impossible, because of the game that they played on us, as it says in Revelations, that they have deceived the entire world. Well, that's
that's a total deception. That's what it is, because they control everything from the universities to the grade school, from the television to the radio, from the internet, and there's so much disinformation on the internet. That's the problem. You see, so since they're trying to control the truth information, but in contrast to that, until they can work that out, then they put out all this disinformation.
Yes.
And so the disinformation, then people get lost in it, and they like it better than the truth.
Yes.
You know, it's more fun to get caught up in all the sensational pablum that's out there that, you know, is exciting about aliens. Oh, you know, an alien's coming, and, you know, and the Earth is really, hey, guess what? Did you know the Earth is really flat? I mean, you know, come on. You know, not really, you know, because they light the lantern because the land turns. We're on a sphere, and it's a bottomless pit. It's also called in the scripture the bottomless pit. And the word sphere is, and when we read Fenton, we find out that he correctly translated, and they didn't want to do it in our other translations, the word sphere over and over, okay? So the scriptures validate, of course, that the earth is a sphere. And so of course, then if the earth is flat, the sun is flat, and the moon is flat, you know, and all the stars are flat, and it's an absurd notion, of course. You know, everything spins. That's the nature of our universe. You know, the atom isn't flat. If your cells are flat, you've got sickle cell anemia. You've got round blood cells. You know, and it's that, because people can't process and actually discover, you know, through revelation or make the connection with the one who made all things. The only thing they got left is a lot of this great cleverness on the part of the enemy, and say, yeah, that sounds pretty cool to me. I think I want to be a part of that. You know, it's like I had a radio sponsor once, you know, and she funded my work, you know, and she could afford to. She made about $250,000 a year, but she had every posh thing going. She was gene-spliced by aliens. She was originally Cleopatra. She she had every kind of vogue thing going for her in this occultic realm. She was psychic, you know. She was all this other. I couldn't get over it, you know. I couldn't get over it, and I'm so grateful that she, in her desire to cover the universe, was also willing to sponsor my radio at the time. So that's kind of ironic, I find, that if she, because we can never get into a deep conversation because she was always into this alien stuff and everything else, And what happened to the screen, Ninja? We lost the screen.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think it'd take this long. I'm working.
All right. Okay. We're looking at the deepest of space, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we are.
This is a picture of what it looks like out there before the great breath of the wind and fire said, "Let there be Zorain, let there be light." And then there is light, not was light. There is light, and light for all of us to see in the darkness of this void, this emptiness that represents mankind. It's an emptiness and a void, and it's very sad. So.
Thank you, Desert, for covering for me. I'll have something up in a second.
Yeah. All right.
I apologize.
So just like we see it in every day, the yolk, the egg yolk of the sun, we've lost a connection with it. That's an important symbol. That's the great logo, the sun. And we break the egg every day. We see a symbol of the sun. We have eggs every day. Got two of them looking at us, and we still don't get the picture. But that's telling us that the sun, is our parent. It's our egg. It's the seed, right? That's what the sun is. It's a seed. It's an egg. It's the parent, and these things have been lost to us. So it's very tragic, and we have to get back to the root meanings of things, to the symbol, the logo. Nobody ever defined the logo for me, but it finally became clear because I heard the word. I said, wait a minute, a logo. I know what a logo is, And they use it today, and then all of a sudden, then I realized that the word, when you put an S in front of it, you get sword. And what is the sword? It's the flaming sword, right? The flaming sword, and that's beautiful. And nice slow spin, very slow GIF. I like the slower GIF.
It's a bit glitchy though.
Like
I have a smoother one, but I think
it's keeps backing up.
Yeah, I've got a better one on my. I've got a better one on my phone. I couldn't find it in here. I mustn't have transferred it yet. I apologise.
This is NinjaCat Live, okay, where she's.
I'll have it ready for the next go. There
All
we
right.
go. I'll change it in a second.
Sun and moon. Sun and moon is these are symbols of the support. I think he's jerking back. I don't know. Yeah, we better get a better one that keeps spinning, or maybe just a still shot.
I have a spinny one.
So,
it's not on the computer. I couldn't find it.
To the mind.
I'm going to change
sun and moon, they're the two columns. Okay, symbolic because we're getting into symbols here, and so the sun and moon are symbols of the two columns. And then in masonry, we see that it's the jacking and the boas. Okay, and they're just jacking with us is what they're doing, of course, with their little prestigious little theater that they do. But the supports. So sun and moon are the supports of the earth. That's why they're represented as two columns. They're supports. You get the picture, okay? And then the twin towers when they came down, that was representative of them bringing in the new age, because these are symbols of time. The columns then would be symbols of time. So the twin towers would have been symbols of time. And when they take them down, then they bring up the new age. And then what do? They bring up one tower, right? The new tower is because it's their metaphor for the play of the one, but they're just all but one big scumbag in all their little group of phony illuminated, because they are mothers, sons of darkness. That's what Freemasonic means, mothers, sons of darkness. While they claim to, hold the light. So they make it a tragic world, because they're the ones, as Albert Pike said in his book Morals and Dogma in the 1800s, is that they wage all revolutions. So they admit that they're all responsible for the bloodshed and the mayhem in our planet, working for the Pope and his big toe, of course, So we're on a very nasty, very dangerous, very dangerous world of deception and delusion. And that's a good picture. They're covering over the beauty with all of their toxic BS.
It's exactly what they're doing.
So we're in the book of symbols. We're going to start going through it again, because I finished reading my dictionaries after all these years and my encyclopedia on symbols, but now I'm good to go, because we have a plan that we're working, and so I want to go into selective definitions that could help make a contribution to the new channel, the cosmic essence. So this is an interesting one. So it's more of just because it's a curiosity, I'm going to do it, but it's not from the spiritual aspect, that I'm going to read it. But I think most people would be intrigued by this. Let me just get a sip of my drink here, Ninja, okay? And,
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the word is abracadabra.
Oh, wow. Wowing straight away. Please continue.
Yeah. Well, abracadabra is an interesting code word. It says here many. You know how it makes a pyramid? They make a pyramid with it, and each letter is added in the next row, and you can read in every direction.
Yeah.
The abracadabra on the triangle or on the flat horizon. Have you seen that?
Can I just show you something? To show you that I know exactly what you're talking about, kind of.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, you got it on the screen? You're going to put it up?
Yeah. There's a bit of an
idea.
idea.
All right. Well, when you do that, I'll do the definition, all right?
Okay.
It's not long. Many words and phrases relating to rituals, talismans, and pentacles have a symbolic meaning either in themselves or in the way they are used, which is expressed either phonetically or, more frequently, graphically. This word was in frequent use during the Middle Ages as a magic formula. It is derived from the Hebrew phrase abreg ad abra. Abreg Abreg ad abra. Abreg ad abra. Meaning hurl your thunderbolt even unto death. It was usually inscribed inside an inverted triangle, or was set out so that it formed a triangle this way. The magic word has also been used to, let me try this again. The magic Abraxas, or Abrasax of the Gnostics. It is, in reality, one of the names of the sun god, Mithras. Well, there you go, Mithras. And it's not the sun god. It is the one who rules from the throne of the sun. The sun is the throne of the Great Spirit. And that's how they see that improper terminology prejudices the mind. And so the definition that follows that then is abyss. And
wow.
and so if we spell it correctly, it'd be AV. So I'll just type it in the chat. Try to type it in there. So AVYSS would become AVAS. That's probably what it would be. You see, because the SS, when you ever see like IS or ISIS would be Asia also, and because it's just a parallel type of the original, but a corruption. So you can see clearly when I talk about the eyes being a blind, like in let me do this. ISIS, IS. How do you spell ISIS? I'm having a mental.
ISIS.
Thank
ISIS.
you. I come up with a new term now instead of old age. I'm having an aluminum moment. I can't remember. I guess that's where they get the word alumni then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All
So
related.
ISIS would be Asia. That's how you
Wow.
pronounce. So just like ish, ISH. Would be Ash, or also ISSA, ISSA is also Asia. You see, this is how the game is played.
Yeah.
They just alter the words. They put the words on the sacred altar, and then nobody can get the picture. So I just want to clarify that, because when we're talking about the abyss is still would be regarded as the royal eye, right? And it's all metaphor, because it doesn't mean one thing. It means many things. Like, okay, the wave. You got the wave going around right there. We're in a royal eye of the wave, and we're looking at the royal eye of the sun. So we got two royal eyes looking at us, right? The Fibonacci sequence obviously would be the royal eye, because that's the foundational code of all creation, right? The Fibonacci, right? The 1 plus 1 is 2. The 2 plus 1 is 3. The 3 plus 2 is 5. The 5 plus 3 is 8. Right, the 8 plus 5 is 13. So you know what I'm saying. You know about that frequency, right?
Yeah.
Ninja?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. You look at the avocado. Look at the sunflower.
Yeah.
Look at your the tip of your finger. Then you got
Yeah.
the extended finger. Then it goes into the hand, and then to the forearm. Then and that's how our body is constructed in this royal eye. That could also be called the royal eye. We are royal eyes. And we are made by a royal eye. So all they've done is corrupted these ideals and these precepts, not concepts, but precepts, so that we're just reading something, but we don't vibrate with it, because they've corrupted the original thought, the original meaning. And so that's what we're rebuilding. That's what we're prosstructing, not constructing, in this operation here. Operation Prostruct. We're gonna restruct. I guess maybe it's restruct, right? Restruct.
Yeah, because it's not reconstruct, does it? So restruct sounds.
No, not reconstruct. That's right. It's restruct. Thank you.
No
Very
worries.
Good. We're gonna strike them dead as they really are, because they're the dead, or the Walking Dead, and they're claiming to be of the light. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
With their little apron on, they feel really cool with their chain around their neck, and feel important, real prestige. Let's hit them. Let's just see them keep themselves alive forever, because they're going back to the dirt where they belong. Okay, abyss, which would be Avesha, and there's some, and that so means that's the star, the royal star. Okay, is in the abyss. The abyss in any form has a fascinating dual significance. On the one hand, it is a symbol of death. The depth, like the deepness in general. There's the word general. And on the other, a symbol of inferiority, The attraction of the abyss lies in the fact that these two aspects are inextricably linked together. Most ancient or primitive peoples have at one time or another identified certain breaks in the Earth's surface or marine depth, like the Mariana Trench in the Pacific, with the abyss, the abyss. Among the Celts and other peoples of the abyss was inside mountains. In Ireland, Japan, and the South Sea Islands, it was at the bottom of the seas and lakes. Among Mediterranean peoples, it was just beyond the horizon, the great abyss. For the Australian Aborigines, the Milky Way is the abyss par excellence. It's the big cup, yeah. The abyss is usually identified with the land of the dead, the underworld, and is hence thought not always associated, not always associated with the Great Mother and the earth God calls. Well, if she's all black, then she would be. That's where we get the terminology, the Aphrodite, because the first mother in the generational cycle of going down, down, down in the lower levels of creation, the first woman is the darkness itself, the void, and that's the Aphrodite. And then there's a star, and then the light falls again, and then there's the lower creation, and then it goes, keeps going down. But it first started with the smallest, and that was the atom. So this is all part of the great mystery we talk about here. And the association between the netherworld and the bottom of seas or lakes explains many aspects of legends in which palaces or beings emerged from an abyss of water. After King Arthur's death, his sword, thrown into the lake by his command, is caught as it falls, and before being drawn down to the bottom, flourished by a hand which emerges from the waters. Okay. And I'll just do a short one real quick because it's the acacia. This shrub, which bears white or pink blooms, was considered sacred by the Dezert-Owl, falsely called Egyptians, partly, no doubt, because of its dual coloration and also because of the great mystic importance of the white-red principle. In Hermetic doctrine, according to Gerard de Nerval, in his Voyage en Orient, it symbolizes the testament of Hiram. That would be Hiram Abiff in Freemasonry, which teaches that one must know how to die in order to live again in eternity. Well, they're full of hogwash, so it doesn't matter. It occurs with, and see, because it didn't even say it right, because the fact is, we must not know how to die, we must die. We must die to this world in order to live. And what they're talking about is putting on a great show, and that's all of the world, of course. So finally here, it occurs with this particular symbolic meaning that is the soul and immortality in Christian art, especially in Romanesque. Okay, and so that's symbols for today, ladies and gentlemen, and want to welcome any new listeners we have out there. We're glad you're tuning in to the broadcast. Maybe after we do it live, you stop by and you listen. You're always welcome to make a comment. Love to hear from you. Hope you're getting something out of the broadcast. That's the objective here. Ninja, why don't we take a 3-minute break or a 5-minute break or whatever, and then we'll go into Old Testament and New Testament light. We're almost at the end of the program. This will probably be our last segment. So I'm glad you're all tuned in right here on NinjaCat 111. And hey, Hans, good to have you out from the land of irony, Ireland, and we'll be right back. Don't go away, right, Ninja?
Sorry, I missed that. I was talking. Sorry.
Don't go away.
Oh no, I won't go anywhere. No.
Well, we're telling them. You're agreeing with me.
Yes, I'm agreeing. Sorry, it's late. I was reading Hans's comment while you were speaking to me.
Oh, okay.
And no worries. Yeah. Um, um, I sent him off some PDFs. So yeah.
Yeah, and Hans is an anagram for Nash, like Graham Nash, from Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So Hans is Nash. Here's an anagram. You see, maybe something else in there too. But anyway, we'll be right back. And,
Okay. Yes.
good to have everybody here today joining us. Okay, so we're making lemonade out of lemons. So thanks to Ninja.
Okay, we'll be back. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Hey.
And please go and tell your friends. And it sounds better when Desert says it. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, and welcome back to the Forbidden History Chronicles. You're here with NinjaCat 111 and Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel, and also Forbidden History Live. That will be Desert in the chat there. It's still a novelty, Desert. I love it. Anyway, program times. The Forbidden History Chronicles are broadcast every Monday and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time US, which is every Monday, Friday, midnight Eastern Standard Time, Aussie time, Australia translation. So please tune in. Any new listeners, please subscribe. Links to Desert's other channels are in the description on every one of these live streams. Everything gets uploaded after the streams, so you can go back and listen as well. And we have 2 new channels that we're working on as well. We want to make it easy to access this information and easy to understand as well. There's also the Cosmic Essence, which is brand new. There's only a preview video on there at the moment, but we're working on getting some videos happening. It's going to have a few different topics, and it's going to make it easy to reference, to find what you're looking for, and they won't be as long as the live streams. They'll be reasonably short clips, and organized into different subjects and topics, to make it easier to find. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be so cool. And there's another channel that Desert's going to be reading on. He's going to be reading the FENTON Bible. Do you want to say the name of the channel? It's the FERRAR FENTON channel, isn't it, Desert? Is that what you said it was going to be? The new channel that you're going to be reading the FENTON Bible on.
I just lost the channel. Yeah, I'm going to read the FERRAR FENTON live. That's correct.
Yeah.
And I just hit the wrong button. All of a sudden, boom, the channel disappeared. I'll be reading the FERRAR FENTON scriptures based on original thought, and also revealing the conspiracy to change information. And no, as they say down under, no worries. I get it, and so you know that I got you figured out with your deep study of the law and all that. And I think you probably studied the work of David Wynn Miller. That would be my guess. Not remembering, but anyway, we're there's so many different ways to approach our ancient history, the forbidden history, and also our spirituality within the confines of Scripture, and then we have to deal with this conspiracy to control our world by priesthood, because they're not just controlling our Scriptures, they're running our world.
Yeah.
This ancient, and the Brahmin is the sovereign, and the sovereign, that's where the word comes from. They alter those words so we don't get the picture. It's the greatest show on earth, and so we are going to define everything, and that's what we're doing right now with the words, which originally would be Eshabor in the Indo-Germanic. And so we've got a major work in front of us, and it's a lot of fun to share, and we hope that people will actually be able to see and read it for themselves. That they have to hear things they've never heard before, and they've got to put on their thinking cap, because it is a work, and it's a major work, because it's about overcoming the deception and the grand illusion, and the clock is ticking. We are all here on a limited time window, and we have to unravel the great mystery before it's over. If people think they're lastly, he brings down the star navigators, those who have been touched by him in order to be able to see and read it for himself or herself, and to then give to be a voice, to be a shofar, which is the term for scribe, as well as the ram's horn, the voice, and to tell other people and point the way, because most people are too busy as animals in the sense of in the lower creation. They are following their pleasures and their passions and their own self-interests, and therefore are missing the true reason this creation came to be, because we did not create this creation, nor do we create ourselves. So we have to identify with who did and what is expected of us within the great mystery, and he communicates. So that's the good news, that actually we can know what his great will is. And so that's what I've been attempting to do all my life. I present it with the hope that somebody will get it, but I do not force these views on anybody. It's free to tune in. It's free to tune out. I've put it on the table. I hope that people will get what I'm putting on the table, but they can leave it right there. Nothing they have to do. I'm not going to give them a quiz later on. It's all free flow, and it's here from my standpoint, as a gift from the Father above for myself and for anybody else who can appreciate it. So that's where I'm at. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm dealing with the word Gehon, Gihon, but Gehon would be a more correct pronunciation of it, based on original. And the name of the second river is Gehon, the same as that that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. But of course, these are all symbols. These four rivers. This is out of Genesis 2:13, as we clearly see when we read Philo, the friend of Yeshua and the great interpreter of the Old and New Covenant symbols and metaphors. Classic work, 1,000 pages. Go to cbd.com, ChristianBookDistributors.com, Peabody, Massachusetts, and get a very affordable book of Philo, 1,000 pages. Blow your mind. And it's also been adulterated by the priesthood. Everything's been corrupted. There are no pure originals, so you have to be able to see through it yourself. And we read it on the broadcast before. We were going through it, and we probably need to do that again. I need to read it again myself. And how are we going to do that? Maybe that'll be my opener for FERRAR FENTON, is to read Philo. We gotta bring it on.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Okay,
I love hearing you read Philo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lamsa, he because even in the East they altered everything and changed their alphabet. They Lamsa, as much of a genius as he was, still I realized that he followed a few things that were not true and correct, and that's okay, because none of us, for the most part, what happened to me in this awakening is a profound miracle. But it's at a later time here. We had the computers. Lamsa didn't have the computers like we do for quick reference, and we build on the work of others. So I've built on the work of Lamsa. I've built on the work of Fenton. He probably didn't even know about Fenton that came out in 1905. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. We don't know. So we're at the latter time, and so therefore we benefit by the work of others. So I benefit from all my other experts. They're all my council of experts that I take advantage of. Yeshua brought them to me, and they love the light. They love the Father in their own right. Forever who they were, we don't know them personally, but we see the works they've done. I'm astounded. I'm always amazed at how difficult it's been for me to publish, and these people created major works, and they did it without a computer, without a typewriter.
Yeah.
How did they do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
So reading now Lamsa's short commentary here. So the name of the second river is Gehon. The Shemitic, and that's a false narrative, Shemitic, it's Aramaic. That's how they got us away from the original. You see, this Semitic thing. Well, all of if Shem spoke a certain tongue, well, his brothers would have spoken, Noah would have spoken, Enoch would have spoken, Methuselah would have spoken. They all spoke it. So why is it called Semitic? Because the terminology apparently was created back around the 1930s when banking took over, and then Norman Dodd, who worked in a bank, but then came out of banking and then volunteered to work for the Reese Committee to expose the communist intrusion into America, and so the Jewish bankers started calling Norman Dodd an anti-Semite, and that's perhaps the first time the word was used because they had to come up with some gloss, some way to label other people with a broad brush with one word, So what better way could you do it saying, "Oh, you're anti-Semitic, you dirty, no
wow.
good, you know what I'm saying?"
Yes,
Yeah.
I do
So
now.
that's how it happened.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So so when you see the word being used, Semitic,
Yeah.
it's a non-word because it's really it's then isolating it towards one man, which would have been Shem, who was
Yeah.
also Melchizedek, but it wasn't exclusive to him. Aramaic was exclusive to everyone from that ancient time, you see? And so that's how they brainwash us, and then they get us to change the meaning of words and ideas, and then ultimately we're lost in cyberspace, right? That's how it happens. So the Aramaic, not Semitic, but the Aramaic name for Ethiopia is Cush. But they've also manipulated these aspects of the story as well, without getting into it. So the regions of Midian and Yemen were known as Cush. The Ethiopians ruled the southwestern Arabia for many years. Galon might be the Nile, which compasses the land of Ethiopia, right? But again, the river of light came out of the logo, came out of the sun, and it parted into the four directions. So these rivers are not literal rivers; they were rivers of light, the four directions. And you see it on all the ancient pottery, from Native American pottery to in India to anywhere, all around the world, South America, you name it. They all made the philpot, the swastika, which was the light flowing out of the sun. The fan is the power, and it parts in the four directions, and we got creation, babe. Okay, so then again, Cush is mentioned in Ganesha, that's Genesis 10:8, as the father of Nimrod, whose kingdom began in Babylon, and Erech-Akkad, and Aramaic Akkar, and Akkar, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Cush might originally have been an ancient region in Assyria named after Cush, the father of Nimrod. The present Ethiopia, well, you see, the people who make the maps and write and control the books are all mixing this stuff up.
Yeah.
They again, remember, who wins the war controls the history. So all of this stuff has been put in a soup and mixed up, and we have to become a deep study in order to know where these lies are and what the problem is. When we see a problem, we have to identify it. Then we have to start asking questions, and then start, coming up with some logic. And that's. But when we find out that all of our preachers and all, they're all Jesuits and Freemasons, we're never going to get the answer from them, are we? Right?
No.
Never.
No. Never a straight answer.
They're protected the false narratives, right?
Yep.
The present Ethiopia was known and unknown and uninhabited at this time. Maybe not. Mankind has not yet multiplied and spread over the face of the entire earth. Well, that's not true as well, because all the other races were here. You see, again, because he also bought into then part of that false narrative that all the races came out of Noah. Well, that is the greatest deception that ever happened. Unless Lanza is more specifically thinking it happened with Adam and Eve, which was strictly the Aryan race. These rivers might be named after the original rivers in and around the garden, but by people who migrated there, as in case of the English or the American cities. So not a lot there. I'm working my way through, the book of the Old Testament light, and so I've got to read this stuff and then interpret it as we go, because I'm reading it on the broadcast. I don't have time to do a lot of reading now on my own. So I'm working my way through, and therefore I have to give my commentary on it. Lanzo is a genius. It's not to take away from him, because it's amazing. Well, I mean, they took over his most powerful transliteration, right, of the the Old Covenant, New Covenant. He did the Peshitta, and they wouldn't publish it for him, and so he had to surrender it in order to let them publish it. And they altered all the words. So he was a genius. His translation would have been the most superior in our modern time if they would have just published what he did, and that's so tragic, on that level. So we're going now to New Testament light, and we're almost done here, and we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons that they gave us, ladies and gentlemen. And so everything is part truth and part lie, but yet the scripture says everything is the truth is not a part of any lie. Okay, and the fictitious conveyance of and language is a negative word actually as well. It comes from the word langrage, and the langrage is what they stuffed in a cannon. They throw everything in the cannon they could find, including lead balls, rope, tied with the lead, and nails and glass, and then they do a sneak attack, surprise attack on a ship that's just floating in the water. It's not sailing, and then they when they shoot out all that rope and the lead, everything gets all tangled in the sails, and they can't lower the sails because they just shot all their land grudge at them. And so there's the word grudge for graduate, and so every time you put all your garbage in your garage, and all that garbage is in the garage storing up. Then you go to school, and then you graduate every year with more garbage that they kept feeding you, and you're grudged a little more, and then finally you graduate with a Masonic mortarboard on your head, and you got mud in your eye, and you don't know nothing, So they got plenty meanings of words, that's for sure. Anyway, it's quite a world, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we're in New Testament light, but there is no New Testament. It is the everlasting covenant, Kevanun, and it was finished from the beginning, but man could not flow into it because he was a criminal and sinner. That's man. Man is from Old English means criminal and sinner, or one who is in darkness. And the Babylonian Talmud has a worse narrative on that. The MN, prime root for moon, and therefore it means darkness because the moon has no light. Okay, so we're on the men of Nineveh in New Testament light, and the men of Nineveh. This is out of Matthew 12:41. The men of Nineveh will rise in judgment with this generation and will condemn it because they repented at the preaching of Jonas. And behold, the greater than Jonas is here. And that'd be Jonas, actually. Matthew 12:41. So Yeshua, and this is the commentary by Lamson again, Yeshua upbraided the Judeans because of their lack of trust in him as the Messiah. And he had performed many miracles and wonders, but still they rejected him. Yeshua related Jonah's experience, how the king and the people of Nineveh received him, how they repented from their blindness, and how Nineveh was spared from disaster by Yahweh, the great Elohim. But Yerul Shalom, being obstinate, was doomed. In the year AD 70, the historic and holy city and its colossal temple were destroyed by Titus Vespasian, the Roman general, son of Flavius Vespasian, the first emperor of the Vespasian dynasty. It is interesting to know that the people of Nineveh, the capital of Assyria, were converted to Christianity, while Yeshua was in Galilee. Yeshua sent 70 of his disciples to preach the gospel to the lost tribes of the house of Israel. Well, I never saw it that way. So, see, Lamsa has the best insight now into this aspect, because what he's implying is they went as far away as Nineveh, and when they sent the 70 out, I always had the picture they just went around Galilee, but no, they went far. They went far. Okay, this is rather interesting. Matthew 10:6. These tribes had been carried away captive by the Assyrian kings in 722 BC and had settled in Assyria, Iran, and other places. They received the star message of enlightenment, that's gospel, supposedly, for the people of other races. Many pagan Avramhaim, or the God of Abraham. The living Yahweh. It is interesting to know that some of the Assyrian kings feared the Yahweh of the Eshuriel. When they were subjugating Utah, they claimed that they came with the consent of Yahweh. Well, that's quite an authority. Isaiah called Assyria, the rod of Yahweh's anger. That is his agent. Isaiah 15 or 10:5. Jonah had predicted that and star navigated that Nineveh would be destroyed, but it was not. In his vision, Jonah argued with Yahweh and wondered why Yahweh did not carry out his threats. At last, he was told in his vision that Yahweh had spared the people of Nineveh because they rebreathed with the breath of a star. That's repented. See article on Jonah in the Star Message of Enlightenment, Gospel or Gospel Light by Lanza, a commentary on the Gospels published by A.J. Holman Company. Okay, and so there's a little tidbit, and that's interesting to realize they went as far as Nineveh. I had not known that. So there, Lanza, being from the east, obviously has greater insight into things like that, and that's what's really fantastic about reading, these works by George Lamsa, because he came from the east, and we're stuck over here in the west, and west means death. It's interesting that the word for east in the east is not east, but it is actually orient, right? So think about that. Listen to the word orient. Oh, so then that's where we get our orientation from, Ninja?
Wow. I'm seeing
From
other
the east,
things,
right?
like I'm rearranging letters in my head as we go, Desert.
Yeah. So the west is not called the west. It's called occidental. It's the occidental. It sounds like we are just an accident waiting to happen, right? The accidental.
Just rearranged west in my head, and I got stew, and yeah, I see that as mixed up confusion. That's what I'm interpreting that as.
Yeah, we're the stew.
Yeah.
Well, Ninja. I gotta get you a report card and give you straight A's. You're really doing it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just glad.
I can't stop thinking about it.
I know, it's all the little words, Desert. I've just had it.
I'm not alone anymore. I can't get over it. Go ahead.
Yay, neither am I. Like I've said to you before, like I have a lot of, it's really hard for me to get out what is in my head. And I see in pictures, like as you're speaking, that's why I'm, when you refer to me as chomping at the bit, it's like I have to get it out before it disappears from inside my head where I can see it. I saw something else for that's what I was going to say. I've just had this feeling the last few weeks. I just haven't been able to stop thinking about the little words thing, like. If they've switched all of our words, then all of them are mixed up, and the little ones kind of get forgotten. They're like fill-in words, but I see that as meaning that they're probably very important when you look at things in duality. I saw something else for East, and it's gone now. No, it's gone. So yeah, that's all. I think I've got it all out. Thank you, Desert.
All right, Ninja. Well, I think I've got myself spent for today, and we will be on tomorrow around an hour before noon. Tomorrow, late dawn. That's how I'm going to say it. Late dawn. I'm going to start using the word dawn. I think that's
late dawn.
Sinking in with me versus, of course, morning, because we don't want to wish anybody to have a death in their family, so we don't want to have a good morning.
Desert.
So the late dawn, and that's 11 a.m. Occidental time, No, that's Eastern time. That's Orient time. So we gotta think. We gotta at least have to consider what's going on. With these deeper words, these bigger words, and then all of a sudden we get these little ones. And
yeah. It's
yeah,
all of them.
so,
All of them. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah. So
I just saw it. Sorry, I just saw it.
Right.
East. I don't know, but I was seeing seat, SEAT, east, seat.
Okay. Right.
Don't know if that
Right,
means
because
anything.
that's the throne of the sun. The east is symbolic the throne of the sun. So there's still, well, also we see the word breast, and then it's also the breast of the Great Mother.
Wow.
To give all life, right? Yeah.
Oh, desert. That's amazing. That's amazing. You can do this with any word. You can do this with any one of them. Wow.
Well,
Wow.
almost any one.
Yeah.
But so west in the in original thought means when the sun is setting. Therefore, west means death, right? Because the sun is setting. So, but originally, therefore, if it were occidental, then we see in the word the occult. The occult means to hide the light, and the light is going down.
Yeah.
You're done. And so there's where the meaning of the word death. That is the original. So with the way we talk today, we're using different ancient words, different words, and therefore they may have different implications by their etymology. But it is important to see the original thought because then we get bearing on what. So in other words, there is no book of the dead, in Tibet nor in Meitzar, falsely called Egypt. But there is a book of the West, or the book of the Occidental. So if we use these other terms, we can then look at them differently. But when people hear the Book of the Dead, it sounds like, okay, why would I want to read that? Yet it was really, in another sense, the Book of Life. It was their Book of Life because what it was implying was that if we had lived perfect lives, or the way they did it was the feather in the balance weighing against the heart, and if the heart was heavy, meaning your conscience was not right because you were doing things that you should not have been doing in your life, then you would not be able to transcend up to the light, then you would go down into the darkness of the deep. So to know ancient culture is paramount. I had to study all these ancient cultures because I wanted to know original thought. I would have people throughout my time, want to condemn me for everything I was studying. Like, okay, they just want their King James version. Jesus loves you, yes I know, for the Bible tells me so, and they're not going to learn anything, and yet they're going to think they know everything, right? At the same time.
Yeah.
And so it's a great irony, but I left no stone unturned, and in order to find original thought. What do people think? How do they think? Why do they think? What is the custom? Why are these customs? And put myself back there. I am there. You see, I put myself right in the setting, and would like as if in a what they call that thing, a hologram type of where you put that thing on
virtual reality, virtual reality goggles things.
How people would really be acting in this setting that I'm reading about, and then it helped me to better appreciate what it probably really meant or was really saying, in contrast with the way we're reading it in our corrupted form today. So it helped me with translation and with custom and all of these things. You got to be there. You got to, like in other words, when you listen today to certain, like you can get the Bible on a CD, right? You can get the Bible audio, Bible audio, Alexander Scorby, or the modern day. And these modern day versions that they got, like I got when I wanted to get the New Testament, let's say, and I got it. And then all of a sudden, when they're putting voices to the people within these stories, they're acting stupid. Like the guy comes on and says, "Oh, I didn't know that." Like, okay, people really talk like that.
Yeah.
But that's how they did it on the audio.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know. I've experienced that.
Totally destroyed it.
Yeah.
Totally destroyed Scripture that way. You know?
It's so hard to it's so hard to find a nice one out there, Desert. I know, because I prefer to fall asleep listening to that.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's how they desecrate. That's how they desecrate our sacred tradition.
Yeah.
By this putrid, what do you call it, production of something. When I wanted to hear something pure, I got these occultists, actually, these Occidental people, giving me the product, and therefore that's what they do. They taint everything. They got their hand in everything, and it's so sad. And that's why we're here with the Forbidden History series, because we've got to correct all of these corruptions from every angle and every age that we've come through, now today in our modern time, to be able to get back to ground zero, to find our way back to the light. So that's it, Ninja. That's all she wrote.
well said, Desert. Well sparked, Desert.
All right. All right. So we'll look for everybody on Saturn's Day, and at 11 p.m. Occidental or Eastern time, and I hope everybody has a safe holy day out there. That's what holiday means. Holy day. You're having a holy day of some occultic falsehood, because there is no independence on the 4th of July. It's the July, and go put it. Hear the word correctly, okay? Because we've been lied to, and so the Illuminatis may run the world, but the good news is somebody's behind them with this big club, and they're all going to all get beat over the head at the end. At the end, they go to dirt, and in the process, we have to find our transcendence and be set free. So that's the true nature of this Independence Day message, okay, so to speak. And so, Ninja, thank you for your great work. You stay up late. You've got no energy. You're not eating good. I hope people will send you a donation. Why don't you give out your email for your PayPal account, and people consider supporting Ninja doing such an important work, giving us a voice here, okay, and giving 100% and seeing and reading it for herself. Whoa, you get my marks, Ninja. You're doing it.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you. Let you go.
Thank you.
Peace and love, sweetheart. Bye.
Peace and love to you. Love you. Okay. Wow again. And thank you so much to Dezert-Owl. I wouldn't be here without you. Or you guys, my family, which is now a 5-pack. But anyway. Okay. So look forward to seeing you guys again on Forbidden History Live, I think is the next stream. And we've got all these channels happening. It's so exciting. I can't wait to start uploading to the new channel. Sorry, I'm trying to find it in my little list one more time. If you haven't done so, please jump over and subscribe to the Cosmic Essence. I will put a link in this description. It's going to be great. Can't wait to get it going. Subscribe to all the other ones as well. The FENTON, the FERRAR, I can't say it properly, I'm sorry. The FERRAR FENTON channel is in the chat. I will put that link in the description as well. And Desert's other 2 channels are already there in the description. So please subscribe and check the bells. You've been listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with NinjaCat 111 and Dezert-Owl. And remember that you heard it here first. Again, I'm looking for something, sorry. You heard it here first, you won't hear it anywhere else. Yeah. And love you all. See you later.